Good evening and welcome to Dreamy Academy. Tonight we turn our gaze to the quiet architects of our world, to the very fabric of life that breathes around us, often unseen in its profound complexity. As we begin, I'd love to know where you're watching from, your city, your country, perhaps even what the night sky looks like outside your window. If you enjoy these peaceful explorations of science, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It truly helps this little corner of quiet curiosity grow. To those already subscribed, thank you sincerely for being part of this slow and thoughtful adventure. Tonight, we begin a journey into the world of plants, a realm so familiar it often fades into the background, yet so fundamental that without it, our world would be utterly unrecognizable. Imagine, if you will, a time before the first green shoots emerged from the primeval waters, before the land was softened by mosses, before forests stood like silent cathedrals reaching for the sun. It was a world of stark rock and restless oceans, bathed in a sun whose energy fell largely uncaptured, unchanneled into the intricate dance of life. Then, slowly, across unimaginable eons, a quiet revolution began. Tiny single-celled organisms learned a profound secret: how to take the raw, untamed energy of a star, filter it through the subtle machinery of chemistry, and weave it into the very substance of life. This wasn't an explosion, but a patient, persistent whisper that changed the planet forever. It built the air we breathe. It laid the foundations for every creature that would ever walk, swim, or fly. It transformed barren landscapes into vibrant tapestries of green, each leaf a miniature solar panel, each root a silent anchor to the earth's deep heart. To truly understand this, we must learn to see plants not as mere decoration, but as the primary alchemists of our world, transforming light into matter, stillness into life. Their story is one of deep time, of intricate chemical ballet, and of an elegant simplicity that underpins all biological complexity. It is a story that rewards patient contemplation, inviting us to find wonder in the ordinary miracle of a single leaf, or the quiet power held within a dormant seed. So let us drift now into this green world, where beauty and depth intertwine, and where the rhythmic hum of life itself can lull us into a deeper understanding. Have you ever truly looked at a tree, not just glanced, but allowed your gaze to soften, to trace the intricate pattern of its bark, to follow a branch as it reaches skyward, to observe the silent, patient unfolding of its leaves? There's a profound stillness about a plant, an apparent lack of movement that can be deceptive. It stands, rooted, seemingly passive, yet within its quiet form, a universe of astonishing activity churns, a constant, intricate conversation between earth, air and sun. This stillness, far from being inert, is the very strategy that allows plants to perform the most fundamental magic trick of all, turning light into life. Let's begin by considering this profound anchoredness. Unlike us, or any animal, a plant cannot move to find its food. It cannot hunt, nor can it flee from danger. Survival depends entirely on its ability to draw sustenance from its immediate surroundings. This fundamental constraint has sculpted every aspect of its being, leading to an elegant, self-sufficient architecture. At its most basic, a plant is an autotroph, a self-feeder. It doesn't consume other living things for energy, it creates its own, and the engine of this creation is the sun. But how does this happen? How does a beam of sunlight, pure energy, become the solid wood of a tree, the sweet fruit of a berry, the tender green of a blade of grass? The answer lies in a process refined over billions of years, a process so efficient and so fundamental that it underpins nearly every breath we take and every bite we eat: photosynthesis. This isn't just a chemical equation learned in school, it's the quiet heartbeat of the biosphere, the very pulse of our living planet. To truly appreciate it, we must shrink down, not just in imagination, but in understanding, to the microscopic world within a single leaf. Picture, if you will, the interior of a leaf. It might seem like a simple flat surface from the outside, but beneath its waxy cuticle lies a meticulously organized landscape of cells. And within these cells, particularly in the palisade layer, are tiny oval-shaped organelles, perhaps 5 to 10 micrometers long, a mere fraction of the width of a human hair. These are the chloroplasts, the miniature solar factories of the plant world. Each plant cell can contain dozens, sometimes hundreds of these green powerhouses. Their green colour, a familiar sight, is not accidental. It is the visual signature of chlorophyll, the molecule at the very heart of photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is an extraordinary molecule, a vibrant green pigment that possesses a unique talent. It can absorb specific wavelengths of light, primarily the red and blue parts of the spectrum, reflecting the green light that our eyes then perceive. Think of it as a tiny antenna, perfectly tuned to capture the energetic packets of light we call photons. When a photon strikes a chlorophyll molecule, its energy excites an electron within the molecule, elevating it to a higher energy state. This isn't just a simple absorption, it's the initial spark, the very first step in transforming raw light into chemical potential. This excited electron, vibrating with newly acquired energy, doesn't just fall back to its original state. Instead, it embarks on a remarkable journey through a series of protein complexes embedded within the chloroplast's internal membranes, structures called thylakoids. Imagine these thylakoids as stacks of flattened sacs, like tiny green pancakes, within the chloroplast, organized into grana. Within these membranes, the electron is passed from one molecule to the next in what's known as the electron transport chain, much like a tiny bucket brigade. As it moves, the electron gradually releases its energy, and this energy is harnessed to perform crucial work. One of the most vital tasks is to pump hydrogen ions, or protons, from one side of the thylakoid membrane to the other. This creates a concentration gradient, a build-up of protons on one side, much like water held behind a dam. This stored potential energy is then released as the protons flow back across the membrane through a specialized protein complex called ATP synthase. This enzyme is a molecular motor, literally spinning as protons rush through it, and in doing so it synthesizes ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP is the universal energy currency of the cell, a small elegant molecule that powers nearly all cellular activities. But where do the electrons come from to replenish the chlorophyll molecule after it sends its excited electron on its journey? This is where water, that seemingly simple molecule, plays a critical role. Within the thylakoid, a water-splitting enzyme performs one of the most astonishing feats in biology. It breaks apart water molecules, H2O, into their constituent parts: protons, H+, electrons, E, and oxygen atoms, O. The electrons replace those lost by chlorophyll, ensuring the continuous flow of energy. The protons contribute to the gradient that drives ATP synthesis. And the oxygen atoms? They combine to form O2, molecular oxygen, which is then released into the atmosphere as a seemingly humble yet utterly life-giving byproduct. This is the oxygen we breathe, the very air that sustains nearly all complex life on Earth. Every breath we take is a testament to the quiet, persistent work of plants. This entire sequence, the capture of light, the journey of electrons, the splitting of water, the generation of ATP, and another energy carrier called NADPH, is known as the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis. It's a breathtakingly precise and elegant system, converting the chaotic energy of photons into the ordered chemical energy that cells can use. Yet this isn't the whole story. ATP and NADPH are energy carriers, but they aren't stable long-term storage molecules. For that, the plant needs to build something more substantial, something that can be stored, transported, and used as a building block for growth. This is where the second set of reactions comes in. The light-independent reactions, often called the Calvin cycle, which occur in the fluid-filled space of the chloroplast called the stroma. In the Calvin cycle, the energy stored in ATP and NADPH is used to fix carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, a gas we exhale and a component of the atmosphere, enters the leaf through tiny pores called stomata. Inside the chloroplast, an enzyme called rubisco, perhaps the most abundant protein on Earth, takes a molecule of carbon dioxide and attaches it to a 5-carbon sugar. This initiates a complex series of chemical transformations, a cyclical pathway that, step by painstaking step, uses the energy from ATP and NADPH to rearrange carbon atoms. The ultimate product of this cycle is a 3-carbon sugar, which can then be used to synthesize glucose, a 6-carbon sugar, the plant's primary food source. Glucose is stable, easily transportable, and can be linked together to form larger, more complex carbohydrates like starch for energy storage, or cellulose, the structural material that gives plants their rigidity and strength. So when we look at a plant, what we are truly witnessing is a living bridge between the sun and the earth. Its leaves are tirelessly converting stellar energy into chemical energy, fixing atmospheric carbon into the very substance of its body. The implications of this quiet, persistent process ripple across the entire planet. Photosynthesis built our oxygen-rich atmosphere, transforming a primordial world hostile to oxygen-breathing life into the vibrant, breathable home we know. It is the foundation of nearly every food web, meaning that the energy in every meal you've ever eaten, whether plant-based or animal-based, ultimately began as sunlight captured by a plant. Consider the profound humility this understanding brings. We, with all our complex technologies, are utterly dependent on these green alchemists. Every breath, every bite is a gift from this ancient, elegant process. The carbon atoms that make up our bodies have, at some point, flowed through the leaves of plants, captured from the air, infused with sunlight, and then passed along the intricate pathways of life. We are, in a very real sense, made of ancient sunlight, stored and transformed by the patient work of plants. There's a particular comfort in realizing this deep interconnectedness, a sense of belonging to a larger, slower rhythm of existence. This silent, rooted life, tirelessly converting light into matter, also raises a quieter question. Once this energy is captured and stored as sugar, how does the plant then use it? How does it build its towering trunk, its delicate flowers, its intricate root systems? How does it transport these precious sugars from the leaves where they are made to every growing tip and hidden root? How does this fundamental energy then translate into the incredible diversity of forms we see in the plant kingdom? That question leads us into the very architecture of plants, into the intricate systems that allow them to grow, to reach, and to spread their silent green influence across the world. In our last gathering within the tranquil halls of the Dreamy Academy, We marveled at the silent alchemy of photosynthesis, witnessing how plants, these rooted autotrophs, harness the sun's raw energy. We journeyed into the chloroplasts, tracing the path of light-excited electrons, the splitting of water, and the quiet genesis of ATP and NADPH. Then we observed the subsequent dance of the Calvin cycle, where atmospheric carbon dioxide, that seemingly ephemeral gas, is captured and woven into the very fabric of life, glucose. This simple sugar, we recognized, is not merely a sweet molecule but the profound currency of existence, the stored sunlight that powers nearly all life on Earth. But a question lingered, a gentle whisper in the verdant silence. What happens next? Once this precious glucose is forged, how do these botanical masters, these primary alchemists, transform it into the myriad forms we behold? How do they fuel their ceaseless growth from the delicate unfurling of a new leaf to the patient centuries-long ascent of a towering redwood? How do they transport this vital energy throughout their intricate architectures, nourishing every root tip, every developing flower, every nascent fruit? Tonight we delve deeper into these remarkable processes, peeling back the layers of the ordinary to reveal the extraordinary mechanisms that sustain the plant kingdom, and, by extension, ourselves. Imagine, if you will, that glucose molecule, or a tiny packet of stored solar energy. While some of it is immediately converted into starch for long-term storage, a plant cannot simply use glucose directly for most of its cellular work. Instead, must liberate that energy in a usable form, much like we cannot power our homes directly with crude oil, but first refine it into electricity. This critical process, shared by nearly all life forms on our planet, is cellular respiration. We often associate respiration with breathing, with the rhythmic intake of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide. And while plants do not possess lungs or diaphragms, they do respire, engaging in a continuous, quiet exhalation of their own. Within the cytoplasm and mitochondria of every living plant cell, the stored chemical energy of glucose is carefully dismantled, step by meticulous step, to produce adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. ATP is the universal energy currency of the cell, the molecular spark that ignites countless biochemical reactions. Consider the elegance of this mirror process. Photosynthesis built the sugar molecule, capturing energy. Respiration then systematically breaks it down, releasing that energy. It is a controlled combustion, a slow burn that avoids destructive heat, instead channeling the liberated energy into the precise bonds of ATP. Glucose, in the presence of oxygen, is oxidized, yielding carbon dioxide, water, and that precious ATP. The carbon dioxide, which was so carefully fixed from the atmosphere in photosynthesis, now returns to it as a byproduct of this energy release, a testament to the continuous cycling of matter through life. This ATP is the fuel for all of the plant's active endeavors. It powers the synthesis of complex proteins, the replication of DNA, the construction of new cell walls, and the intricate dance of active transport that moves molecules against their concentration gradients. Every new root hair that probes the soil, every pollen grain that seeks its mate, every droplet of nectar that beckons a pollinator, all are powered by the silent, ceaseless work of cellular respiration. Plants, then, are not merely solar panels, they are also sophisticated power stations, generating their own electricity from the very fuel they produce. But how does this energy, once harnessed in the leaves, reach the farthest reaches of the plant, the deep roots anchoring it to the earth, the developing fruit swelling with sweetness, the tender buds poised for spring? This is where the plant's remarkable internal transportation system comes into play, a network of living conduits that rivals any human-engineered pipeline. We speak now of translocation, the directed movement of sugars throughout the plant body via the phloem. Recall the xylem, the plant's plumbing system for water, moving it upwards from roots to leaves, a one-way street driven by the transpiration pull. The phloem, however, is a more dynamic and complex system, a bustling highway capable of bidirectional flow transporting the sugary sap, primarily sucrose, a disaccharide formed from glucose and fructose, which is more stable for transport, from areas of production, the sources, typically mature leaves, to areas of consumption or storage, the sinks, such as growing tips, roots, flowers or fruits. Imagine a leaf diligently performing photosynthesis, brimming with freshly made sucrose. This sucrose is actively loaded, often against a concentration gradient and requiring ATP, into specialized cells of the phloem called sieve tube elements. These unique cells are living, yet lack a nucleus and most organelles, allowing for unimpeded flow. They are connected end-to-end by perforated plates called sieve plates, forming continuous tubes. Adjacent to each sieve tube element is a companion cell, a fully functional cell that acts as a life support system, providing metabolic assistance and, crucially, powering the active loading and unloading of sugars. As sucrose is loaded into the sieve tube elements at the source, the concentration of solutes inside the phloem increases. This draws water from the adjacent xylem into the phloem by osmosis, creating a powerful surge of turgor pressure. Think of it like water held behind a dam building immense force. This pressure drives the sugary sap or phloem sap away from the source and towards the areas of lower pressure, the sinks. At the sink, whether it's a rapidly growing root tip demanding energy for cell division or a fruit accumulating sugars for ripening, the sucrose is actively unloaded from the phloem. As sucrose leaves the sieve tube, the solute concentration decreases and water moves out of the phloem, often returning to the xylem. This continuous cycle of loading at the source, pressure-driven flow, and unloading at the sink, known as the pressure flow hypothesis, ensures that every part of the plant receives the nourishment it needs. It is a marvel of hydraulic engineering and biochemical cooperation, a silent subterranean and aerial ballet of energy distribution. With ATP providing the energy and sucrose providing the building blocks, the plant can now embark on its most visible endeavor: growth and development. From a tiny seed, how does a colossal tree emerge? How do the delicate petals of a rose unfurl? The answer lies in specialized regions of actively dividing cells called meristems. Meristems are the perpetual construction sites of the plant, regions of undifferentiated cells capable of continuous cell division, mitosis. The apical meristems, located at the tips of shoots and roots, are responsible for primary growth, increasing the plant's length, pushing roots deeper into the soil and shoots higher towards the sun. These are the engines of elongation, constantly generating new cells that will then differentiate into the various tissues, epidermis, cortex, vascular bundles, that form the plant body. In many plants, particularly woody ones, lateral meristems, the vascular cambium and cork cambium, are responsible for secondary growth, increasing the plant's girth. The vascular cambium produces new xylem, wood, and phloem, adding layers year after year, forming the sturdy trunk and branches that define a tree. The cork cambium produces the protective outer bark. As cells divide in the meristems, they also undergo differentiation, specializing into the diverse cell types that perform specific functions. Some become parenchymal cells for storage, others collenchyma for flexible support, and still others sclerenchyma, forming the rigid fibers that give plants their incredible strength. And what are these structures ultimately built from? The very sugars we've been discussing. Glucose, the product of photosynthesis, serves not only as an energy source, but also as the fundamental monomer for the most abundant organic polymer on Earth. Imagine countless glucose molecules linked together in long, unbranched chains, which then aggregate into strong microfibrils. These microfibrils are woven together in layers, like the fibers of a super strong fabric, to form the plant's cell walls. The cell wall, a defining feature of plant cells, provides structural support, protection, and turgor pressure against which the cell expands, giving the plant its shape and rigidity. It is the plant's external skeleton, its very architecture. In woody plants, another remarkable polymer, lignin, is deposited within and around the cellulose fibers, creating a composite material of extraordinary strength and impermeability. Lignin is what gives wood its characteristic hardness and resistance to decay, allowing trees to reach immense heights and endure for centuries. It is the concrete reinforcing the cellulose rebar, transforming a flexible stem into an unyielding trunk. So we see a profound and elegant continuum, the sun's energy captured by chlorophyll, converted into glucose, then meticulously broken down through respiration to generate ATP. This ATP powers the active loading of sucrose into the phloem, which then transports these vital sugars to every growing tip and storage organ. There, fueled by further respiration, meristems divide, and new cells are constructed, primarily from cellulose and in many cases lignin, forming the intricate and diverse structures that allow a plant to thrive. From the quiet shimmer of a leaf performing photosynthesis, to the unseen rush of sugars through its vascular system, and finally to the patient, persistent expansion of its roots and shoots, plants are engaged in a ceaseless, intricate ballet of energy transformation and structural engineering. They are the living bridges between the raw energy of the sun and the complex tapestry of life on our planet. They are not merely still, they are teeming with activity, a testament to the profound power and ingenuity of life itself. As we conclude this chapter, reflect on the sheer diligence of a single plant. It draws light from the sky, carbon from the air, water from the earth, and with an internal wisdom honed over eons, it crafts its own fuel, builds its own infrastructure, and distributes its resources with unparalleled efficiency. We are invited to witness not just a scientific process, but a profound expression of life's fundamental drive to grow, to endure, to create. What further wonders, we ask, lie hidden within these quiet architects, these patient builders of our world? We have journeyed through the quiet alchemy of photosynthesis, witnessed the tireless dance of cellular respiration, and marveled at the ingenious engineering of translocation and growth. We've seen how plants, those seemingly still inhabitants of our world, orchestrate a ceaseless, intricate ballet of energy transformation and structural ingenuity. Yet the deeper we delve, the more profound the revelations become. For within these silent builders, these primary alchemists, lie further wonders, a hidden world of perception, communication, and intricate adaptation that challenges our very notions of intelligence and awareness. How does a plant, rooted firmly into place without eyes to see or ears to hear, navigate the complex tapestry of its environment? How does it respond to the subtle shifts of light, the insistent pull of gravity, the gentle caress of a breeze, or the predatory gnawing of an insect? We might imagine them as passive recipients of the world's whims, But nothing could be further from the truth. Instead, we discover a sophisticated network of sensory capabilities, a silent vigilance that allows them to perceive and react with astonishing precision. Consider light, the very essence of their existence. It is not merely a source of energy, but a language they interpret with remarkable nuance. Photoreceptors, specialized proteins akin to miniature light sensors, are distributed throughout the plant, acting as their eyes. These aren't eyes that form images, as ours do, but rather ones that discern the quality and duration of light. They distinguish between red and far-red light, a crucial difference that signals the presence of neighboring plants shading them, prompting them to grow taller, stretching towards the sun. They measure the hours of daylight and darkness, a process known as photoperiodism, which cues them for vital events like flowering, setting fruit, or preparing for winter dormancy. Imagine, if you will, a living clock woven from sunlight ticking away the seasons, guiding a plant through its annual cycle with unerring accuracy. Then there is gravity, the constant, invisible hand shaping our world. Roots unfailingly grow downward, anchoring the plant and seeking water and nutrients, while shoots invariably reach for the sky, aspiring towards the light. This phenomenon, gravitropism, is not accidental. Within specialized cells in the root caps and shoot tips, tiny starch-filled organelles called statoliths act as internal plumb lines. As gravity pulls these statoliths to the lowest side of the cell, they trigger a cascade of molecular signals, redirecting growth hormones to ensure the plant maintains its proper orientation. It is a profound, unconscious wisdom, guiding each nascent root and shoot with an innate understanding of up and down. Even touch, that most intimate of senses, is not lost on our plant companions. Think of a climbing vine, its delicate tendrils spiraling gracefully until the ends counter a support structure. Within moments, they begin to coil tightly around it, securing the plant's ascent. This thigmotropism is a rapid, localized growth response, a testament to the plant's ability to feel its surroundings. And who among us hasn't marveled at the remarkable Mimosa pudica, the sensitive plant, whose leaves fold inward and stems droop at the slightest touch, a defensive flourish that startles potential herbivores. These are not mere reflexes, but sophisticated mechanosensory responses demonstrating a dynamic interaction with their immediate physical world. The roots, too, are silent explorers, navigating the complex subterranean landscape with an acute sense of their environment. They exhibit hydrotropism, growing towards areas of higher moisture, and chemotropism, sensing and extending towards pockets of essential nutrients. Imagine the root tip as a tireless prospector, its cells constantly sampling the soil, interpreting its chemical composition, and charting a course towards life-sustaining resources. It is a hidden world of sensation, an intricate dialogue between plant and earth, playing out beneath our feet. But sensing the world is only half the story. Once perceived, these environmental cues must be interpreted and acted upon. This requires an internal communication network, a sophisticated system of molecular messengers that coordinate growth and development across the entire organism. We call these messengers plant hormones, and they are the silent orchestrators of the plant's life, a chemical language spoken in whispers and echoes throughout every cell. Consider auxins, often called the master regulators of plant growth. Produced primarily in the growing tips of shoots and roots, auxins dictate cell elongation, influencing everything from the direction of stem growth. Phototropism and gravitropism are largely auxin-mediated, to the development of new roots, they establish apical dominance, ensuring the central stem grows vigorously while suppressing the growth of lateral buds, shaping the plant's overall architecture. It is a molecular directive, guiding the plant's form and expansion with subtle but powerful authority. Then there are the gibberellins, hormones that can trigger dramatic growth spurts, particularly in stems. They are crucial for seed germination, breaking dormancy and signalling the nascent embryo that conditions are right for emergence. They also play a role in fruit development and flowering, acting as accelerators, pushing the plant towards its reproductive phase. Imagine a sleeping seed, patiently waiting until a surge of gibberellins awakens its potential, unleashing the energy stored within and initiating its journey into the light. On the other hand are the architects of cell division. Produced in the roots and transported upwards, they work in concert with auxins to regulate the formation of new tissues, influencing shoot and root development, and even delaying senescence, the aging process of leaves. They are the hormones of renewal, constantly prompting the creation of new life, maintaining the plant's vitality and regenerative capacity. But life is not always about growth and expansion. Sometimes survival demands restraint, a slowing down, or even a strategic retreat. This is where abscisic acid, ABA, comes into play. Often dubbed the stress hormone, ABA orchestrates responses to adverse conditions. When water is scarce, ABA signals the stomata on leaves to close, conserving precious moisture. It induces dormancy in seeds and buds, ensuring they weather harsh winters or dry spells, waiting patiently for more favourable times. It is the plant's internal alarm system, prioritising survival and resilience over immediate growth. Finally, we encounter ethylene, a simple gaseous hydrocarbon, yet a hormone with profound effects. Ethylene is the hormone of ripening, transforming hard green fruits into soft, sweet delicacies. It also plays a role in leaf abscission, the shedding of leaves in autumn, and in the plant's response to stress, injury, or pathogen attack. Imagine a bruised apple releasing a puff of ethylene, signalling to its neighbours to ripen faster, a subtle, almost melancholic call to accelerate the cycle of life. These hormones do not act in isolation. Rather, they engage in a complex, finely tuned voyage chemical ballet, their concentrations and interactions dictating the plant's every move, from the unfurling of a new leaf to the blossoming of a flower. It is a symphony of signals, orchestrated across vast cellular distances, without a centralized brain, yet achieving a level of coordination that rivals the most complex animal systems. And the plant's communication extends beyond its own intricate interior. It speaks to the world and listens to the world in ways that are only now beginning to be fully understood. Have you ever noticed the distinct aroma of a freshly mown lawn, or the pungent scent of pine needles? These are pole volatile organic compounds, VOCs, a chemical language plants use to communicate with their external environment. Some VOCs attract pollinators, guiding bees and butterflies to their nectar rewards. Others act as distress signals, released when a plant is under attack by herbivores. These airborne warnings can alert neighbouring plants to prepare their defences, or even summon the natural enemies of the attacking pest, transforming the plant from a passive victim into an active participant in a complex ecological drama. It is a silent alarm system, a molecular SOS broadcast through the air. Beneath the soil, another, even more ancient communication network thrives, the more mycorrhizal, fungal networks. We have discussed the root's tireless search for nutrients, but often they do not work alone. Vast, intricate webs of fungal hyphae extend far beyond the reach of individual root systems, forming a symbiotic partnership with nearly 90% of all plant species. Plants provide the fungi with sugars, the precious bounty of photosynthesis. And in return, the fungi act as an extended root system, vastly increasing the plant's access to water and essential minerals like phosphorus and nitrogen. But this relationship is more than a mere exchange of goods. It is a communication highway. Through these fungal networks, plants can share resources with their kin and even transmit warning signals about impending threats, creating an underground internet that connects an entire forest, a profound example of cooperation and interconnectedness. Finally, let us consider the sheer ingenuity of plant defenses. Having no means of escape, plants have evolved an astonishing array of strategies to protect themselves from a world teeming with predators and pathogens. Some employ physical defenses. Sharp thorns and spines deter large herbivores, while microscopic hairs, trichomes, can irritate smaller insects or create a barrier against water loss. Others rely on a formidable arsenal of chemical defenses. These secondary metabolites, not directly involved in primary growth, include tannins that make leaves unpalatable, alkaloids like nicotine and caffeine that act as potent toxins, and a myriad of other compounds designed to deter, sicken, or outright kill their attackers. Imagine a plant as a living pharmacy, constantly synthesizing a complex cocktail of compounds, fine-tuning its chemical warfare in response to specific threats. These further wonders, the profound sensory capabilities, the intricate hormonal orchestrations, the sophisticated external communications, and the ingenious defenses, reveal plants not as inert backdrops to our lives, but as dynamic, repulsive, and incredibly intelligent organisms. They exist in a state of constant silent interaction with their world, adapting, communicating, and thriving through means that often escape our human-centric perception. As we conclude this chapter, we are left with a deeper appreciation for the quiet wisdom of the plant kingdom. They may not possess brains or nervous systems as we understand them, but their capacity for sensing, responding, and orchestrating their lives is nothing short of miraculous. They are the living bridges between the sun and the soil, the primary alchemists, the silent architects, whose intricate existence underpins the very fabric of life on Earth. And in their profound stillness, they offer a celestine interconnectedness, resilience, and the endless wonders of the natural world, inviting us to observe, to ponder, and to understand the extraordinary lives unfolding all around us. What more, we might ask, can these humble yet mighty beings teach us about the subtle art of living? Having explored the intricate dance of light, carbon, and the plant's internal symphony of growth and communication, we now turn our gaze to the unseen foundation of their existence, the soil beneath our feet and the vital resources it holds. If plants are the quiet architects of life above ground, they are equally profound engineers of the hidden world below. We have seen how plants perceive the subtle nudges of light, gravity, and touch, how they whisper warnings and invitations through the air, and how they share resources through vast subterranean fungal networks. But how do these patient beings gather the very sustenance from the earth that allows them to perform their grand alchemy? How do they drink from the hidden springs and draw forth the elemental building blocks essential for their magnificent structures? Imagine, if you will, the root system of a plant as its silent subterranean brain, a sprawling network of delicate sensors and tireless labourers. It is here in the cool, dark embrace of the soil that a plant's most fundamental interactions with its environment unfold. First, let us consider water. the universal solvent, the very lifeblood that courses through every living cell. Plants are in essence conduits for water, drawing it from the earth and releasing it into the atmosphere in a continuous planetary respiration. We often take water for granted, but for a plant, its acquisition is a masterclass in biophysics, a process driven by forces both subtle and immense. At the heart of water uptake is a phenomenon we call osmosis. Think of a plant cell as a tiny semi-permeable balloon, its membrane allowing water to pass through but restricting many larger molecules. Within the cell, sugars, salts and other dissolved substances create a certain concentration, a kind of internal thirst. In the soil, water molecules are generally more abundant and less occupied by solutes. Nature, in its elegant simplicity, always seeks balance. Thus water, following its innate tendency to move from an area of higher concentration, the soil, to an area of lower concentration inside the root cells, flows inward. This is the principle of water potential, a measure of the potential energy of water, moving from higher potential to lower potential. The plant, through its metabolic activities, actively maintains this gradient, ensuring a continuous draw. But how does this water, once absorbed by the delicate root hairs, ascend against gravity, sometimes reaching the towering heights of a redwood or a sequoia? This is where the truly astonishing cohesion-tension theory comes into play, a testament to the remarkable properties of water itself. As sunlight warms the leaves, water molecules within the plant's vascular tissue, the xylem, are drawn upwards. This upward movement is primarily driven by transpiration, the evaporation of water vapour from the leaves, predominantly through tiny pores called stomata. Each evaporating water molecule creates a minute pull. Now picture water molecules as tiny sticky magnets. They exhibit strong push cohesion, meaning they cling tightly to each other through hydrogen bonds, forming an unbroken continuous column from the roots to the highest leaf. Simultaneously, they adhere to the walls of the xylem vessels. Adhesion. As one water molecule evaporates from a leaf, it pulls the next one up, and that one pulls the next, in an unbroken chain. It's like a microscopic bucket brigade, or a living rope being steadily reeled in from above, each drop of water lifting the one below it. This collective pull, multiplied by millions of stomata across countless leaves, generates an immense tension, strong enough to overcome gravity and lift water hundreds of feet into the sky. It is a silent, ceaseless pump powered by the sun and the inherent properties of water. This elegant system, however, comes with a delicate balance. Stomata, while essential for transpiration and gas exchange, allowing carbon dioxide in for photosynthesis, also represent the primary pathway for water loss. Plants must constantly regulate these pores, opening them to capture CO2 and cool themselves, but closing them to conserve precious water during periods of drought or intense heat. It is a constant negotiation, a finely tuned adaptation to the fluctuating rhythms of their environment. Beyond water, plants require a diverse array of mineral nutrients, the very building blocks of their cells, enzymes and genetic material. These are not merely food in the way we think of it, but essential elements that participate in virtually every metabolic process. We categorize them into macronutrients, needed in larger quantities, like nitrogen, abundant phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and sulfur, and micronutrients, required in trace amounts such as iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine and nickel. Each plays a specific indispensable role, from forming the core of chlorophyll, magnesium, to aiding in enzyme function, iron, zinc, or regulating water balance, potassium. How do plants acquire these vital elements? Unlike water, which largely moves passively, many mineral ions must be actively transported into root cells, often against their concentration gradients. This requires energy, typically in the form of ATP, which the plant generates through cellular respiration. Specialized protein pumps embedded in the root cell membranes act like molecular turnstiles, selectively taking up specific ions from the soil solution. The root hairs, those microscopic extensions of epidermal cells, dramatically increase the surface area for this absorption, reaching into the smallest crevices of the soil to scavenge every available nutrient. And what of the soil itself? We often perceive it as inert dirt, but it is, in fact, a vibrant, complex ecosystem, a universe teeming with life and intricate chemical interactions. Soil is a magnificent mosaic of weathered rock particles, sand, silt, clay, decaying organic matter, humus, water and air. But crucially, it is also home to an astonishing diversity of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes and more, all engaged in a continuous unseen ballet of decomposition, transformation and nutrient cycling. The structure of the soil, its texture and porosity, profoundly impacts a plant's ability to thrive. Clay soils with their tiny particles can hold more water and nutrients but may become waterlogged, suffocating roots. Sandy soils drain quickly, providing ample air but often leaching nutrients. Loamy soils, a balance mix, offer the ideal compromise. Organic matter, the rich legacy of past life, acts like a sponge, improving water retention, providing binding sites for nutrients, and fueling the microbial communities that are so vital to plant health. Indeed, the relationship between plants and the soil's microbial inhabitants is one of the most profound and ancient symbioses on Earth. We glimpsed this in Chapter 3 when discussing mycorrhizal networks as communication highways. Now, let us delve deeper into this remarkable partnership. Mycorrhizal fungi, whose name literally means fungus root, form a mutualistic association with the vast majority of land plants, an estimated 90% or more. These fungi colonize the plant's roots, extending their delicate hyphae, thread-like structures, far into the soil, creating an immense underground network that is many times larger and more efficient at absorbing water and nutrients than the plant's own roots could ever be. In return for these services, the plant supplies the fungus with sugars, carbohydrates, produced through photosynthesis. It is a win-win, a perfect economic exchange forged over hundreds of millions of years. There are two main types of mycorrhizae. Ectomycorrhizae. These fungi form a dense sheath around the outside of the root, with hyphae growing between the root cells but not penetrating them. They are common in many trees, like pines, oaks and birches, giving forests their distinctive fungal scent after rain. Endomycorrhizae, or arbuscular mycorrhizae. These fungi penetrate into the root cells, forming intricate tree-like structures called arbuscules within the cell walls, where the exchange of nutrients and sugars occurs. These are found in most herbaceous plants and many agricultural crops. The benefits of mycorrhizae are immense. The fungi are particularly adept at scavenging phosphorus, a macronutrient notoriously immobile and difficult for plants to access in soil. They also enhance the uptake of nitrogen, zinc and copper, improve drought resistance by increasing water absorption, and even provide a degree of protection against root pathogens. It is a living bridge, connecting the plant to a vast, otherwise unreachable reservoir of resources. Another spectacular example of plant-microbe symbiosis involves nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas in our atmosphere, N2, making up nearly 7% of the air we breathe. Yet in this gaseous form, it is chemically inert and unusable by most living organisms, including plants. Plants need nitrogen in a fixed form, typically as ammonia, NH3, or ammonium NH4+, to build proteins, nucleic acids, and chlorophyll. Enter the remarkable nitrogen-fixing bacteria, most famously the Rhizobium species. These specialized bacteria form a truly extraordinary partnership with plants in the legume family: peas, beans, clover, alfalfa. When a legume encounters Rhizobium in the soil, the plant sends out chemical signals, inviting the bacteria to colonize its roots. The bacteria respond by inducing the plant to form specialized structures called root nodules, small tumor-like growths on the roots. Within these nodules, the Rhizobium bacteria, protected from oxygen by a plant-produced pigment called leghemoglobin, which gives the nodules a pinkish hue, much like hemoglobin in our blood, possess the unique enzymatic machinery to convert atmospheric nitrogen gas, N2, into usable ammonia. Again, this is a mutualistic marvel. The bacteria receive carbohydrates and a stable environment from the plant, and in return they provide the plant with a steady supply of fixed nitrogen, essentially fertilizing it from within. This is why legumes are so valuable in agriculture, enriching the soil with nitrogen for subsequent crops, reducing the need for synthetic fertilizers, and sustaining entire ecosystems. It is a fundamental process, without which the intricate web of life as we know it could not exist. As we conclude this chapter, reflect on the profound implications of these subterranean relationships. The plant, rooted and seemingly passive, is in fact a dynamic orchestrator, a skilled negotiator with its environment. It actively shapes the soil around its roots, influencing microbial communities, exchanging signals, and fostering partnerships that extend its reach far beyond its physical form. From the silent upward surge of water, to the active selection of mineral ions, to the ancient pacts with fungi and bacteria, the plant demonstrates an intelligence of connection that transcends our conventional understanding. We are reminded that the green world above is inextricably linked to the dark, fertile world below. Every leaf that unfurls, every flower that blooms, every fruit that ripens is a testament to this hidden ballet, a symphony of exchanges that sustains not only the plant itself, but also, ultimately, every breath we take and every meal we consume. The plant is not merely in its environment, its environment, a living bridge between the earth, the sky, and the unseen realms of microbial life. What further wonders, we might ask, does this interconnectedness reveal about the very fabric of existence? As we journey deeper into the intricate world of plants, we have marveled at their profound capacity to conjure life from light, to breathe with the very air, to communicate in a silent symphony, and to draw sustenance from the earth itself. We have witnessed their tireless work as the quiet architects, the primary alchemists, tirelessly sustaining the intricate web of existence. But what is the ultimate purpose of such magnificent ingenuity, if not to ensure its own continuation? How do these patient beings, rooted so deeply in the present, cast their hope into the future? Today, we turn our gaze to the most ancient and potent of all biological imperatives: reproduction. It is the eternal dance, the drive to perpetuate, to echo life through time, ensuring that the vibrant tapestry of flora continues to unfold across our world. Whether through the steadfast reliability of cloning or the adventurous gamble of genetic recombination, plants possess an astonishing array of strategies to ensure their legacy. Imagine, if you will, the strawberry plant, sending out slender questing runners across the soil. Each node along these runners possesses the latent potential for a new life, a tiny cluster of cells ready to unfurl into a genetically identical offspring. This, dear friends, is the essence of sexual reproduction, or say vegetative propagation. It is a testament to efficiency, a rapid and dependable method for a plant to colonize an area, to replicate a successful genetic blueprint without the need for a partner or the uncertainty of seeds. Consider the humble potato, an underground marvel. What you hold in your hand is not a root, but a tuber. A swollen stem designed for storage and crucially for propagation. Each eye on the potato is a bud, a dormant promise that given the right conditions will sprout into a new genetically identical plant. Similarly, the underground stems of ginger and irises, known as rhizomes, creep horizontally, sending up the new shoots at intervals. Think of the bulb of an onion or a tulip. Layers of modified leaves tightly packed around a central bud, a self-contained unit ready to spring forth with a perfect clone. Even a simple cutting placed in water or soil demonstrates this remarkable ability. A piece of stem, leaf, or root regenerating into a complete new individual. Sexual reproduction offers speed and certainty. It is a powerful strategy for plants thriving in stable environments, allowing them to quickly expand their territory and outcompete rivals. There is a profound elegance in this self-sufficiency, a quiet confidence in its own perfected form. Yet stability is not the only constant in our dynamic world. Environments shift, diseases emerge, and conditions change. For adaptation, for resilience against the unforeseen, nature often favours diversity, and it is here that we encounter the profound beauty and complexity of sexual reproduction, a process that shuffles the genetic deck, creating novel combinations and providing the raw material for evolution. Step with us now into the sacred architecture of the flower, the very altar of plant sexual reproduction. For angiosperms, the flowering plants, this exquisite structure is not merely an aesthetic delight, but a meticulously engineered marvel designed to facilitate the union of genetic material. Why such elaborate forms, such intoxicating scents, such vibrant hues? They are invitations, promises, signals in a complex dance of life. Let us dissect in our mind's eye the anatomy of a typical flower. At its base, often green and leaf-like, are the sepals, quietly cradling the bud as it develops, then forming a protective collar for the open blossom. Above them, unfolding in a glorious display, are the petals, the flower's advertising board. Their colours, patterns and fragrances are not for our pleasure alone, but for the discerning eyes and antennae of pollinators. Within this colourful embrace lie the reproductive organs, the sestamen. The flower's male component consists of a slender filament supporting the anther. And what a wonder the anther is! It is the factory of pollen. Those microscopic grains, a tiny vessel carrying the male gametes, the genetic blueprint for half of a new life. If you have ever suffered from seasonal allergies, you have felt the pervasive power of these minute travellers. At the very heart of the flower, often rising majestically, is the pistil, or carpel, the female reproductive structure. Its topmost part is the stigma, a sticky, often feathery or rough surface perfectly adapted to capture airborne or animal-borne pollen. Below the stigma, a slender stalk called the style acts as a conduit, connecting the receptive stigma to the ovary nestled at the flower's base. Within the protective walls of the ovary reside the ovules, each containing the female gamete, the egg cell, awaiting its genetic partner. Each ovule, after successful fertilization, holds the potential to become a seed. The next pivotal act in this drama is pollination, the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma. Sometimes a flower can pollinate itself, self-pollination, a reliable backup plan, especially for plants isolated from others of their kind. But the true engine of genetic diversity, the grand evolutionary experiment, is cross-pollination, where pollen travels between different individual plants. Here we witness some of the most extraordinary partnerships in the natural world. Some plants, like grasses and many trees, rely on the indiscriminate currents of wind for dispersal. Their flowers are often inconspicuous, lacking showy petals or sweet scents, but they compensate by producing prodigious amounts of lightweight pollen, hoping against hope that a few grains will find their mark. Imagine the air, thick with these invisible particles, a silent broadcast of life's potential. But it is the animal pollinators that truly capture our imagination. Insects, birds, and even bats and small mammals engage in a silent contract with the plants. The plant offers a reward, sweet nectar, nutrient-rich pollen, or even oils and waxes, and in return the animal inadvertently carries pollen from one flower to another. Consider the bee, a tireless worker, drawn by vibrant blues and yellows, often guided by ultraviolet patterns invisible to us, landing on a flower to sip nectar. As it moves, pollen grains cling to its fuzzy body, only to be brushed off onto the stigma of the next flower it visits. Butterflies with their long proboscises seek out flowers with deep tubes, while moths, nocturnal navigators, are drawn to pale, often intensely fragrant blossoms that glow under the moonlight. Hummingbirds, with their darting speed and long beaks, favour brilliant red or orange tubular flowers, often scentless, as they do not rely on smell. Bats, too, play their part in tropical nights, drawn to large, robust, often musky-scented flowers. This co-evolutionary dance, refined over millions of years, is a testament to the power of mutual benefit, a complex web of life woven by myriad tiny interactions. Once a pollen grain, whether carried by wind or wing, successfully lands on a receptive stigma, a remarkable process begins. The stigma's sticky surface, often coated with the sugary fluid, stimulates the pollen grain to germinate. From this tiny grain emerges a pollen tube, a microscopic single-celled conduit that begins to grow down through the style, navigating its way towards an ovule within the ovary. It is a journey of precision and purpose guided by chemical signals, a race against time to deliver its precious cargo. Upon reaching an ovule, a truly astonishing event occurs in angiosperms: double fertilization. Two sperm nuclei travel down the pollen tube. One sperm nucleus fuses with the egg cell, forming the zygote, the very first cell of the future plant embryo. The other sperm nucleus fuses with the central cell within the ovule, forming the endosperm, a nutritive tissue that will provide sustenance for the developing embryo. This dual act ensures both the creation of a new life and the provision for its initial growth, a profound foresight embedded in the plant's reproductive strategy. With fertilization complete, the flower's transformation accelerates. The ovula, now containing the nascent embryo and its endosperm, matures into a seed. The seed is a miniature package of life, exquisitely designed for survival. Encased in a protective seed coat, it holds the promise of a future forest, a future field, a future bloom. Simultaneously, the ovary surrounding the ovules begins to swell and ripen, developing into the fruit. And here we must expand our common understanding of fruit. Botanically speaking, a fruit is any mature ovary containing seeds. This definition encompasses not only the sweet, fleshy delights we commonly consume, berries, apples, peaches, but also the dry pods of beans, the tough shells of nuts, and even the grains of wheat and corn. The fruit's primary purpose is not just to be eaten, but to facilitate seed dispersal. Imagine the ingenious ways seeds travel. Some, like the feathery parachutes of dandelions or the winged samaras of maple trees, are carried aloft by the wind, scattered far from the parent plant to seek new ground. Others, like the buoyant coconut, drift across oceans carried by water currents. Many, perhaps most, rely on animals. Fleshy fruits, with their enticing colours and sweet flavours, are an irresistible invitation. An animal consumes the fruit, digests the pulp, and then disperses the unharmed seeds, often far from the parent plant, in its droppings, a perfect partnership. Other seeds, like burrs, have hooks or barbs that cling to fur or feathers, hitching a ride to a new location. Even the caching behaviour of squirrels, burying nuts for later consumption, inadvertently leads to the planting of new trees. And some plants, with a burst of mechanical energy, mechanically disperse their seeds, ejecting them with surprising force, like the popping pods of impatiens. Once dispersed, a seed enters a period of dormancy, a state of suspended animation. It waits, often for weeks, months, or even long years, till the conditions are just right. The perfect combination of moisture, temperature, and sometimes light or even cold stratification. This dormancy is a survival mechanism, preventing germination during unfavourable times. Then when the cues align, the seed awakens. This is germination. The miraculous moment when the tiny embryo within begins to grow, breaking through its protective coat, sending a root downwards and a shoot upwards, reaching for the light. It is the beginning of a new chapter, the continuation of the cycle. From the quiet self-replication of a runner to the elaborate millennia-old dance of flower and pollinator, the reproductive strategies of plants are a profound testament to life's persistent drive. They are the architects not only of our present, but also of our future, ensuring that the green heart of our planet continues to beat, generation after generation. As you walk through a garden or a forest, consider the intricate hidden processes that brought forth each leaf, each petal, each fruit, each seed. It is a story of wonder, resilience, and the unending promise of life renewed. As we journey deeper into the quiet halls of our dreamy academy, having witnessed the journey of a single life from pollen grain to nascent seed and its patient wait for awakening, we now expand our gaze. We have celebrated the individual miracle, the intricate blueprint of survival and perpetuation. But what becomes of this solitary seed once it unfurls its cotyledons to the sun? How does it fit into the grander narrative of life? Today we turn our attention from the solitary plant to the magnificent symphony it orchestrates and participates in, the plant community, the ecosystem, and the very fabric of our living world. We begin to understand plants not merely as isolated entities, but as the quiet architects of entire biomes, the patient regulators of planetary cycles, and the fundamental weavers of the intricate tapestry of life that envelops our Earth. Consider, if you will, a patch of forest, a vast grassland, Or even a humble meadow, what do you see? Not just individual trees or grasses, but a collective, a community. Here, plants do not merely coexist. They interact, they compete, they cooperate. They form relationships, visible and invisible, that shape the very character of the landscape. This is the essence of a plant community, a dynamic assembly of species, each playing a role, each influencing the others and the non-living environment around them. Imagine a landscape scarred by fire or laid bare by a retreating glacier. It seems desolate, a blank slate. But nature abhors a vacuum, and here the patient work of plants begins. This slow, deliberate transformation of an ecosystem is what we call ecological succession. It is a testament to the resilience and pioneering spirit of the plant kingdom. First, the pioneer species arrive. Perhaps a hardy lichen clinging to bare rock, slowly breaking it down with its subtle chemistry, or tenacious mosses finding purchase in the shallowest crevices, beginning to build the first fragile layer of soil. We see annual weeds, quick to colonize disturbed ground, their rapid life cycles a strategy for immediate impact. These are the avant-garde, the first wave, tolerating harsh conditions, preparing the way for others. They add organic matter, create shea, and modify the microclimate slowly, steadily, making the environment less hostile. As conditions improve, these pioneers are gradually replaced by more demanding species. Perennial grasses and small shrubs take root, their deeper root systems further stabilizing the soil, adding more organic material, and creating a richer habitat. The soil deepens, its nutrient content increases, and its capacity to hold water improves. This slow march continues, a gradual progression from simple to more complex communities. Eventually, if undisturbed, the ecosystem reaches a state of relative stability, a climax community. In many regions, this might be a mature forest with its towering canopy, understory of shade-tolerant shrubs, and a rich forest floor. This climax community is not static, for nature is ever-changing, but it represents a dynamic equilibrium, a peak expression of the region's ecological potential. Think of the ancient redwood groves, the vast Amazonian rainforests, or the majestic old-growth forests of the Pacific Northwest. These are living monuments to the slow, relentless power of plant succession. Do you perceive the profound patience inherent in this process, the unhurried artistry of life reclaiming and reshaping its domain? Beyond shaping landscapes, plants are the very breath and sustenance of our planet. Recall our journey into the chloroplast, that miniature solar panel. Multiply that by trillions upon trillions of leaves, spanning continents, and you begin to grasp the colossal scale of their impact. Plants are the planetary lungs, tirelessly inhaling carbon dioxide and exhaling the life-giving oxygen that sustains almost all aerobic life on Earth, including our own. This is not merely a local exchange, it is a global atmospheric regulation service, performed silently, continuously since the dawn of photosynthetic life billions of years ago. Consider the immense volumes of carbon sequestered in plant biomass, in the cellulose of towering trees, the lignin of woody stems, the vast root networks beneath our feet. Plants are the primary architects of the global carbon cycle, drawing carbon from the atmosphere and locking it away, mitigating the very forces that threaten our climate today. Without this constant, quiet work of carbon fixation, our planet would be a vastly different, likely uninhabitable place. Can you feel the weight of this responsibility, silently borne by the Green Kingdom? They are also the gentle architects of our waters, Through transpiration, the release of water vapor from their leaves, plants play a crucial role in the global water cycle. They draw water from the soil, transport it skyward, and release it back into the atmosphere, contributing to cloud formation and rainfall patterns. In dense forests, the sheer volume of water transpired can influence regional climates, creating their own localized rain cycles. Moreover, the extensive root systems of plants anchor the soil, preventing erosion by wind and water. Their canopies intercept rainfall, slowing its descent and allowing it to gently permeate the earth, rather than rushing across the surface, carrying away precious topsoil. Along river banks and coastlines, mangroves and marsh grasses stand as vigilant guardians, buffering the land against the erosive power of tides and storms. They are the silent custodians of our freshwater resources, ensuring its purity and regulating its flow. And what of the very ground beneath our feet? Plants are the deep weavers of the soil. Their roots penetrate and aerate the earth, breaking up compacted layers and creating pathways for water and air. As leaves, stems, and roots die and decompose, they contribute organic matter, enriching the soil with humus, a dark, nutrient-rich substance that improves soil structure, water retention, and fertility. This continuous cycle of growth and decay transforms barren mineral particles into the living, breathing medium that supports all terrestrial life. Without plants, the fertile topsoil that sustains agriculture and ecosystems would simply not exist. This profound interplay extends to the astonishing biodiversity we observe across the globe. Each plant species, from the tiniest moss to the mightiest sequoia, represents a unique evolutionary solution, a specific set of adaptations to its environment. From the parched desert where cacti store water in swollen stems and shed their leaves to conserve moisture, to the lush rainforest where epiphytes perch on branches, capturing moisture from the humid air, plants have evolved an astonishing array of strategies to thrive. These adaptations are not isolated. They are interwoven with the lives of countless other organisms. Plants form the foundational layer of nearly all terrestrial food webs. They are the primary producers, converting solar energy into chemical energy that fuels herbivores, which in turn feed carnivores, creating the intricate network of life that sustains us all. They provide shelter, nesting sites, and nurseries for animals, from microscopic insects to colossal mammals. A single oak tree, for instance, can support hundreds of species of insects, birds, and fungi, becoming a microcosm of an entire ecosystem. Each species, a unique note in the grand symphony of life, contributes to the resilience and richness of the whole. We too are inextricably woven into this green tapestry. Our very existence, our civilizations, our cultures, are built upon the patient work of plants. They provide the food that nourishes us, the fibers for our clothes, the timber for our homes, the medicines that heal us. They purify the air we breathe, the water we drink, and stabilize the climate that allows us to flourish. From the humble grain of rice to the majestic ancient forest, plants are fundamental to our physical and spiritual well-being. As we conclude our exploration of these fundamental principles, we are left with a profound sense of awe and responsibility. The lessons plants offer are not merely scientific facts. They are profound philosophical insights into patience, resilience, interconnectedness, and the quiet power of creation. They remind us that true strength often lies not in overt dominance, but in persistent, harmonious interaction with the world. What further wonders, what deeper wisdom might these humble yet mighty beings reveal if we simply pause to observe, to listen, and to appreciate their ceaseless silent work? They stand as living monuments to the Earth's enduring vitality, inviting us to recognize our place within their intricate dance and to safeguard the delicate balance they so patiently maintain. For in understanding them, we understand ourselves and our profound connection to the living world. As the gentle hum of the dreamy academy settles around us once more, we arrive at a moment of quiet reflection, a pause after our journey through the intricate green heart of our world. We have traversed vast landscapes, descended into the microscopic wonders of the cell, and soared through eons of evolutionary time. We have witnessed the silent, ceaseless work of the plant kingdom, from the first spark of captured sunlight to the grand cycles that sustain all life. Now, we invite you to simply be with this knowledge, to let it resonate within you, transforming not just what you know, but how you perceive the living world. Remember, we began by observing stillness, the apparent quietude of a leaf, a tree, an entire forest. Yet what we discovered beneath that placid surface was a ceaseless, vibrant symphony of activity, a complex choreography of molecules and energy. We saw how a single chloroplast, a miniature solar panel within a cell, orchestrates the most fundamental alchemy on Earth, transforming raw light into the very sugars that fuel every breath, every thought, every movement of every creature. We understood the profound elegance of photosynthesis, the initial spark, and the subsequent intricate dance of cellular respiration that unlocks that stored energy, powering growth, repair, and the endless cycles of life. We then journeyed deeper, exploring the plant's ingenious systems of transport, the unseen rivers of the Hoc Elem, lifting water against gravity, and the vibrant currents of the Volome, carrying life-giving sugars to every hungry cell. We marvelled at the perpetual genesis within meristems, the quiet architects continually building, expanding, and renewing the plant's form. And we learned that far from being passive, plants are sentient beings in their own right, perceiving their world with astonishing acuity. Through a sophisticated array of photoreceptors, they read the subtle nuances of light, discerning the time of day, the changing seasons, the presence of a neighbour. They sense touch, gravity, the whisper of a breeze, the distant scent of a threat or a friend, all orchestrated by a delicate ballet of plant hormones and external communications through volatile organic compounds, and the subterranean wisdom of mycorrhizal networks. Our exploration led us beneath the soil, into a realm of hidden wonders where roots engage in a profound dialogue with the earth itself. We witnessed the miracle of water's ascent, driven by the elegant or cohesion-tension theory, a testament to water's inherent properties and the plant's masterful engineering. We uncovered the vital partnerships with mycorrhizal fungi, those ancient allies who expand the plant's reach into the soil, and the extraordinary collaboration with nitrogen-fixing bacteria in their root nodules, turning the inert nitrogen of the atmosphere into the very building blocks of life. These symbioses underscore a fundamental truth. No life exists in isolation. All are interwoven in a magnificent continuous exchange. And then we turn to the grand imperative of life itself, perpetuation. We explored the exquisite artistry of flowers, the intricate designs evolved over millennia to attract and reward pollinators, ensuring the transfer of genetic material. We observed the delicate process of double fertilization, the genesis of the seed, a miniature ark carrying the blueprint of future life, and the ingenious strategies of fruit for dispersal, ensuring that life finds new ground, new opportunities. We saw how dormancy gives way to germination, a silent promise unfolding into vibrant new growth, an eternal dance of renewal. Finally, we broadened our gaze to the planetary scale, understanding how plants are not merely individual organisms, but the very foundation of our world. They are the soil pioneer species that heal barren lands, the architects of ecological succession that build complex ecosystems, that are our planetary lungs that regulate our atmosphere, and they are deep weavers of the soil that enrich and sustain it. They are the primary producers, the first link in nearly every food web, supporting the dazzling biodiversity that defines our living planet. Their presence is so ubiquitous, so fundamental, that we often overlook the sheer magnitude of their contribution to our breathable air, our potable water, our very sustenance, our medicines, our homes, our clothing, our art. Now, as we stand at this vantage point looking back at the verdant landscape of knowledge we have traversed, what remains? What is the enduring whisper that these quiet architects offer us? It is a profound invitation to presence, to a deeper, more mindful engagement with the world around us. Consider the plant's unwavering commitment to its place. Rooted, it cannot flee from adversity, but must adapt, endure, and transform. It teaches us patience, the slow, steady unfolding of life, the profound wisdom in waiting for the right moment, in growing towards the light with unwavering resolve. It demonstrates resilience, bending with the wind, shedding leaves in winter, only to burst forth with renewed vigour in spring. It finds strength in its very stillness, a deep internal fortitude that allows it to weather storms and thrive in challenging conditions. We see too the plant's extraordinary generosity. It takes sunlight, water, and simple minerals, and through its own intricate processes transforms them into oxygen for us to breathe, food for us to eat, and the very structure of its being, wood, fibre, medicine, for us to utilize. It gives without expectation a continuous, life-affirming offering that sustains not just individual organisms, but entire planetary cycles. This constant giving, this selfless contribution to the greater whole, is a powerful lesson in interconnectedness, reminding us that our own well-being is inextricably linked to the health and vitality of the green world. And what of our role in this grand, living tapestry? Having journeyed through the quiet marvels of the plant kingdom, we are now perhaps better equipped to be its thoughtful stewards. To understand a process, a relationship, a cycle, is to gain a deeper respect for its fragility and its power. It is to recognize that the intricate balance we have explored, the delicate dance of life and energy, is not merely a scientific curiosity, but the very foundation of our existence. We invite you to carry this newfound awareness into your daily life. Look at a leaf not just as a green surface, but as a miniature factory humming with activity, a silent cathedral where light is consecrated into life. See a tree not just as a static object, but as a living bridge between earth and sky, its roots delving deep into the mysteries below, its branches reaching towards the cosmic dance above. Appreciate the intricate networks, both visible and invisible, that connect it to its neighbours, to the soil, to the atmosphere, and ultimately to you. The lessons of botany are not confined to textbooks or laboratories. They are etched into every blade of grass, every blossoming flower, every ancient tree. They speak of profound interdependence, of the beauty and diversity, of the power of quiet persistence, and of the fundamental miracle of life's continuous unfolding. They remind us that we are not separate observers, but integral participants in this magnificent ongoing story. So, as our exploration within the Dreamy Academy draws to its gentle close, we leave you with this final thought. The plant kingdom, in its silent wisdom and ceaseless generosity, offers a profound invitation. It asks us to slow down, to observe with patience, to listen to the enduring whisper of life, and to remember that in nurturing the green world, we are, in the most fundamental sense, nurturing ourselves. May this journey inspire in you a deeper sense of wonder, a renewed commitment to care, and a lifelong appreciation for the quiet, extraordinary miracle that is every single plant. The conversation, of course, continues in every rustling leaf, every opening bud, every breath you take. Go forth and see the world anew. As our peaceful exploration draws to a close, or perhaps more accurately, as it opens into a new horizon of understanding, we find ourselves standing at a precipice of profound realization. We have journeyed through the intricate dance of light and carbon, tracing the invisible pathways of water and nutrients, marveling at the silent symphony of growth and defense, and witnessing the timeless imperative of reproduction. We have seen plants not merely as passive backdrops to our lives, but as the very architects of existence, the patient alchemists who breathe life into our world. I remember when I first truly grasped the elegant complexity of photosynthesis, how a humble leaf in its quiet green laboratory orchestrates the most fundamental chemical reaction on Earth, converting raw sunlight into the very sugars that fuel life. It wasn't just a scientific fact, it was a revelation, a moment when the world shifted on its axis, and I saw the true power in the delicate veining of every leaf, the silent tenacity of every root. This journey through botanical science, through the Dreamy Academy's corridors of knowledge, has been less about accumulating data and more about shedding layers of human-centric perception, revealing a universe of wisdom we had overlooked. Now, as the quiet hum of the Dreamy Academy lingers, a gentle, almost meditative thrum that resonates with the deep learning we've undertaken, we turn our gaze not backward at the fundamentals we have uncovered, but forward into the boundless expanse of botanical futures. This future isn't a distant, abstract concept. It's a living, breathing possibility unfolding before us. What does this profound understanding demand of us? What new pathways of thought and action does it illuminate? And what further wonders await our collective discovery in the green heart of our planet? These questions, I confess, weigh heavily on my mind, yet they also fill me with an exhilarating sense of purpose. You see, our journey through botany is not simply an academic exercise. It is an awakening. It is an invitation to recognize the urgency and the immense privilege of our role as stewards of this living earth. The tapestry of life, so painstakingly woven over eons by these quiet green beings, now faces unprecedented challenges. Climate change, habitat destruction, and the relentless march of human expansion threaten the very foundations we've come to understand. We witness the rising seas, the scorched forests, the disappearing species, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But within this challenge lies our greatest opportunity to apply the wisdom of plants, to learn from their resilience, their generosity, and their interconnectedness, and to forge a future where humanity and the plant kingdom thrive in harmonious partnership. It is a future where we move beyond merely surviving to truly flourishing, hand in hand with the natural world. Consider the immense task ahead. As we look at the changing climate, With its rising temperatures and unpredictable weather patterns, who stands at the forefront of solutions? It is the plants. They are the grand regulators of our atmosphere, tirelessly absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygen we breathe, a colossal, invisible engine running our world. They are the tireless carbon sinks, sequestering vast amounts of greenhouse gases in their woody tissues and deep root systems, a silent, continuous act of planetary healing. They are the silent guardians of our soils, their intricate networks of roots holding the earth against erosion, enriching it with organic matter, creating the very foundation for all terrestrial life. To understand their mechanisms, the unparalleled efficiency of photosynthesis, the delicate balance of transpiration that influences rainfall, the subtle chemistries that allow them to adapt and thrive in diverse environments, is to hold the keys to mitigating some of our most pressing environmental crises. We are called to protect and restore these vital ecosystems, to reforest our landscapes, to nurture biodiversity, not just for the sake of nature itself, but for the very survival and well-being of every living creature, including ourselves. This is not merely an act of conservation, it is an act of profound self-preservation, a recognition that the health of the plant world is inextricably linked to our own. But our future with plants extends far beyond a mere protection. It blossoms into innovation, inspired by millennia of evolutionary brilliance. Have you ever considered the elegance of a lotus leaf, repelling water and dirt with effortless grace, its microscopic surface architecture a marvel of engineering that keeps it perpetually clean? Or the incredible strength-to-weight ratio of bamboo, a grass that builds structures stronger than steel yet remains flexible and entirely biodegradable? This is the realm of biomimicry, where the solutions to human design challenges are found in the ingenious blueprints of the natural world. Plants, in their quiet laboratories, have perfected technologies we are only just beginning to comprehend. Highly efficient solar energy conversion that far surpasses our most advanced photovoltaic cells, self-repairing materials that mend themselves when damaged, sophisticated chemical communication systems that allow them to warn each other of danger, and structures capable of withstanding extreme forces, from hurricane winds to crushing snow loads. The more we observe, the more we realize that every challenge we face, nature has likely already solved, often with elegant simplicity. Imagine a future where our buildings are inspired by the breathable, self-regulating structures of forests, drawing in fresh air, filtering pollutants, and maintaining optimal temperatures naturally. Think of urban environments where vertical farms mimic the layered canopy of a rainforest, providing fresh food locally year-round. Imagine a world where our materials are grown, not manufactured in energy-intensive factories mimicking the strength and biodegradability of cellulose and lignin, creating a circular economy where waste is simply food for the next generation of products. Think of new medicines derived from the vast, as yet undiscovered pharmacopoeia hidden within rainforest canopies and desert flora, holding potential cures for diseases we haven't even named. Consider how our understanding of plant growth hormones could revolutionize sustainable agriculture, allowing us to cultivate more food with fewer resources, adapting crops to changing environments and restoring fertility to depleted soils. The potential for bio-inspired innovation is limitless, a testament to the fact that the greatest engineers and chemists have always been and continue to be the plants themselves. We are learning to listen, to observe, and to translate their ancient wisdom into technologies that serve both humanity and the planet. This vision fills me with immense hope, a tangible pathway to a more sustainable and harmonious existence. And what of the imperative to feed a growing global population? Here too, botanical knowledge is paramount. The future of food security lies not just in increasing yields, but in cultivating resilience, diversity, and sustainability. We must move beyond the monocultures that deplete soil, invite disease, and demand ever-increasing chemical inputs towards agroecological systems that mimic the complexity and robustness of natural ecosystems. Imagine fields where multiple crops coexist, supporting each other, attracting beneficial insects, and enriching the soil naturally, a vibrant, living mosaic rather than a sterile expanse. We must learn from indigenous practices, from the wisdom passed down through generations which inherently understood the interconnectedness of soil, water, plants, and community, recognizing that healthy land fosters healthy people. We must delve deeper into understanding plant genetics, not to dominate and manipulate, but to partner, helping plants adapt to harsher climates, resist new pests, and provide enhanced nutrition. This is a future where agriculture is a regenerative force, enriching the land rather than depleting it. A future where every meal is a testament to our profound relationship with the plant kingdom, a celebration of life's bounty rather than a drain on its resources. Yet, despite all we have learned, all the intricate details we have uncovered, a vast ocean of mystery still surrounds the plant world. The silent conversations between roots, facilitated by mycorrhizal fungi, exchanging nutrients and warnings, the subtle shifts in chemical signals that orchestrate their lives, guiding their growth and defense, the full extent of their sensory perceptions, their ability to see light, feel touch, and smell airborne chemicals. These are frontiers of discovery that beckon us forward. Every forest, every meadow, every humble patch of moss holds secrets waiting to be unveiled. The journey of botanical understanding is unending, a continuous unfolding of wonder that deepens our awe and humbles our intellect. We are merely scratching the surface of their ancient wisdom, and this ongoing mystery is perhaps the greatest gift of all, inspiring perpetual curiosity and a profound respect for the unknown. It reminds us that there is always more to learn, more to appreciate, more to integrate into our understanding of life itself. So as we conclude this formal broadcast from the Dreamy Academy, I don't want to leave you with a sense of finality. Instead, I offer an invitation to carry this newfound understanding into your daily life. Look at the trees in your neighborhood with fresh eyes. See the intricate network of life in a garden. Ponder the journey of a single leaf drawing energy from the sun, tirelessly converting light into life. Allow the lessons of patience, resilience, generosity, and interconnectedness, so beautifully demonstrated by the plant kingdom, to permeate your consciousness. Let the silent power of plants inspire you to be a more mindful inhabitant of this earth, a conscious participant in the grand, ongoing symphony of life. Let their quiet wisdom guide your choices, big and small. The future of our world, in so many profound ways, is a botanical future. It is a future where we move from mere consumers of nature's bounty to active collaborators, co-creators, and protectors of the green heart of our planet. It is a future built on respect, illuminated by knowledge, and sustained by the quiet, tireless work of the plants. May your journey with them continue, ever deepening, ever inspiring as you become a more integral part of this vibrant living tapestry. Go forth with a renewed sense of wonder and nurture the green. We spoke of unresolved mysteries, of the quiet wisdom that still eludes our full grasp, of the boundless curiosity the plant world perpetually ignites within us. Indeed, the more deeply we delve into the intricate lives of these quiet architects, the more profound the questions become, challenging our very definitions of life, perception, and even intelligence. We stand at the threshold of a vast verdant library, its most ancient and sacred texts yet to be fully deciphered. Today, we invite you to journey with us into these enigmatic realms, to ponder the extraordinary capabilities of plants that continue to astound and inspire. What forms of memory do they possess? How do they make decisions? Do they communicate in ways we are only just beginning to perceive? Whispers carried on unseen currents beyond the familiar lexicon of volatile organic compounds or mycorrhizal dialogues. Consider for a moment the concept of plant memory. When a Mimosa pudica plant, the sensitive plant, folds its leaves in response to touch, it is a rapid, dramatic display of thigmonesty. Yet, if repeatedly subjected to a harmless stimulus, like a gentle drop of water, it eventually learns to ignore it, keeping its leaves open. This habituation, a basic form of learning, can persist for weeks, even when the plant is kept in darkness. Where is this memory stored? Without a centralized nervous system, without a brain as we understand it, how does a plant recall past experiences and modify its behavior? We observe the phenomenon, the quiet retention of information, and are left to marvel at the elegant distributed intelligence that allows for such sophisticated adaptation. Is it a cascade of epigenetic markers, a shifting landscape of gene expression, or something more? The precise mechanisms remain a beautiful, unfolding mystery, urging us to redefine what memory truly means in the biological world. Then we encounter decision-making, in a form so subtle, so deeply embedded in the plant's being, that it often escapes our notice. A root foraging through the soil encounters a patch rich in nutrients in one direction and a patch teeming with pathogens in another. How does it decide which path to pursue, which resources to prioritize? It is not a conscious deliberation in the human sense, but a complex integration of myriad chemical signals, internal states, and environmental cues leading to a directed growth response. Think of a plant growing in a light-limited environment, allocating precious resources to extend a stem towards a distant sunbeam, or reorienting its leaves throughout the day to maximize photon capture. These are not passive responses, they are active dynamic adjustments, a continuous series of choices made moment by moment, ensuring survival and propagation. We see the elegant orchestration, the optimized outcomes, and wonder at the intricate algorithms woven into the very fabric of plant life. And what of communication? Beyond the well-documented exchanges through the wood wide web or the atmospheric signals of volatile compounds, are there other languages being spoken? Scientists are exploring the role of electrical signals akin to rudimentary nerve impulses that travel through plant tissues, transmitting information about wounds, light changes, or pest attacks at surprisingly rapid speeds. Imagine a silent network, a living circuit board, where signals ripple through plasmodesmata and vascular bundles, coordinating responses across an entire organism or even between neighbouring plants. Are plants also sensitive to sounds, to vibrations in the soil or air? Emerging research suggests that roots might grow towards the sound of flowing water, or that plants can detect the vibrations of chewing insects, priming their defences. These are not yet fully understood mechanisms, but they open up tantalizing possibilities, suggesting a sensory world far richer and more complex than we ever dared to conceive, a symphony of unseen energies and unheard frequencies. As we ponder these intricate internal worlds, we are also drawn to the extreme adaptations that push the boundaries of biological ingenuity. revealing the extraordinary resilience and inventiveness of plant life. Consider the carnivorous plants, those botanical marvels that transcend the typical plant-herbivore dynamic. The Venus flytrap Dionea muscipula, with its hinged leaves and trigger hairs, is a master of precision engineering. When two hairs are touched in quick succession, or one hair twice, an electrical signal is generated, causing specialized cells to rapidly change turgor pressure, snapping the trap shut in a fraction of a second. How did such a complex active mechanism evolve from a photosynthesizing leaf? It is a testament to the relentless force of natural selection, transforming a simple organ into a sophisticated predator, extracting vital nitrogen and phosphorus from the bodies of its prey in nutrient-poor soils. We see the elegant design, the intricate timing, and are humbled by the sheer inventiveness of life. Or journey with us to the realm of the parasitic plants, those botanical rebels that have abandoned the photosynthetic imperative, or at least supplemented it, to feed directly from other living organisms. The dodder, Cuscuta, a genus of delicate thread-like vines, germinates and then, seemingly blindly, searches for a host plant. Once contact is made, it produces specialized root-like structures called haustoria that penetrate the host stem, tapping directly into its xylem and phloem, effectively stealing water, nutrients, and sugars. How does this vine, initially without leaves or roots, know to find a host? It detects volatile chemical cues emanating from potential victims, a silent olfactory hunt played out in the botanical dimension. The dodder's life cycle is a profound inversion of the typical plant narrative, a living testament to the diverse strategies life employs to persist, thrive, and propagate, often at the expense of others, yet always within the grand interconnected tapestry of existence. These examples, from the subtle memory of a mimosa to the predatory cunning of a flytrap or the audacious thievery of a dodder, compel us to ask deeper, more philosophical questions. Do plants possess a form of sentience? A quiet awareness of their surroundings, a rudimentary capacity to experience? While we must be careful not to project our own human-centric definitions of consciousness onto these profoundly different forms of life, the sheer complexity of their sensory processing, their adaptive behaviors, and their intricate internal and external communications invite us to reconsider the very boundaries of being. They respond to light, touch, gravity, chemicals, and perhaps even sound, not as simple reflexes, but as integrated systems that process information and generate appropriate, often highly nuanced, responses. What if sentience is not a monolithic singular phenomenon, but a spectrum with countless gradations and forms? What if the slow, deliberate rhythm of plant life harbours a different kind of awareness, one deeply rooted in the interconnectedness of all things, a wisdom that perceives the world through chemical gradients and light frequencies, through the subtle pulses of water and the unseen dance of mycorrhizal fungi? We do not claim to have answers, but we invite you to engage with the questions, to cultivate a humble curiosity that acknowledges the vastness of what we do not yet know. Every mystery we unravel only deepens our understanding of the profound interconnectedness that binds all life on Earth. These seemingly isolated phenomena, a plant's memory, its decision to forage, its predatory trap, its parasitic embrace, are all threads in the same vibrant tapestry. They demonstrate how life in its myriad forms continuously adapts, innovates, and interacts in an endless creative dialogue with its environment. Plants, as the primary alchemists, are not merely passive recipients of environmental cues. They are active agents shaping their worlds and being shaped by them, engaged in a perpetual dance of cause and effect, action and reaction. The botanical world remains an open book, its pages constantly turning, inviting us to read deeper, to observe more patiently and to wonder more profoundly. The quiet wisdom of plants, their resilience, their intricate beauty, and their profound importance to all life on Earth continue to unfold before us, a testament to the endless capacity for discovery. As we conclude this exploration, we are left not with definitive answers, but with an enriched sense of awe, a renewed commitment to stewardship, and a vibrant curiosity that promises many more journeys into the living, breathing heart of our planet. The Dreamy Academy closes for now, but the conversation, the contemplation and the wonder, we trust, have only just begun. As we journey deeper into the green heart of our world, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of profound questions, questions that challenge the very foundations of our understanding of life itself. We have touched upon the enigmatic memory of a mimosa pudica, habituating to stimuli without a brain, its leaves folding in a defensive posture only when truly threatened, discerning between a real threat and a repeated harmless touch. We have marvelled at the intricate decision-making processes within a root, navigating the subterranean labyrinth, prioritizing resources, avoiding toxins, even sending signals to other parts of the plant, all without a centralized command center. We have glimpsed the unseen electrical signals, akin to rudimentary nerve impulses, traversing plant tissues, and contemplated the sophisticated predatory strategies of carnivorous plants like the Venus flytrap, whose snap traps are triggered by precise hair movements, a marvel of biomechanics and sensory integration. These are not mere biological curiosities. They are resonant whispers from a realm of intelligence that operates beyond our conventional definitions, inviting us to reconsider the very nature of awareness, of consciousness itself. What then does it mean to be sentient if we strip away our anthropocentric biases, our ingrained assumptions that consciousness must reside within a brain, within a nervous system akin to our own? What new landscapes of possibility open before us? For too long, humanity has held a monopoly on the concept of intelligence, measuring it against our own cognitive abilities, language, abstract thought, complex problem solving. We have often dismissed the profound capabilities of plants because they do not think or move in ways we immediately recognize. But what if intelligence manifests differently, in myriad forms, across the vast spectrum of life? What if the slow, patient wisdom of a redwood, standing for millennia, its roots intertwined with generations of its kin, holds a form of awareness, a deep collective memory that we are only just beginning to comprehend? Consider the plant, an organism rooted in place, seemingly passive, yet it does not passively endure its fate. It adapts with astonishing precision, orchestrating complex physiological responses to every shift in its environment. It does not flee from danger, yet it synthesizes an arsenal of defensive compounds, communicates warnings to its neighbors, and alters its growth patterns to mitigate threats. It does not speak in words, yet it communicates in a symphony of chemical signals, hormones directing growth, volatile organic compounds signaling distress, or attracting pollinators, root exudates shaping the microbial community around it. It communicates through electrical impulses that ripple through its vascular tissues, forming an internal communication network that rivals our own in complexity, if not in speed. It does not possess eyes, yet it perceives the subtle shifts in light quality and duration, discerning the time of day, the approach of seasons, and the presence of competing foliage with an unwavering accuracy that guides its very survival. Is this not a form of awareness? a continuous living calculus of existence, a profound engagement with its environment that demands our respect and our deeper inquiry. We are accustomed to a rapid-fire, reactive intelligence, one often driven by immediate gratification, the thrill of the chase or the urgency of escape. Plants, however, embody a different kind of wisdom, a patient, interconnected, and deeply rooted intelligence. Their decisions are not made in a flash of synaptic fire, but in the slow, deliberate dance of gene expression, protein synthesis, hormone regulation, and intricate cellular responses, optimized over eons of evolutionary refinement. They are the quiet philosophers of our planet, teaching us the profound power of stillness, the resilience forged through deep connection, and the harmonious coexistence achieved through constant subtle negotiation with their surroundings. Theirs is an intelligence of integration, of persistent adaptation, of finding balance within the grand ecological tapestry. Imagine, if you will, a vast interconnected green mind, not centralized in a single locus, but distributed throughout the entire plant kingdom, a living network spanning continents, exchanging information through subterranean root systems, through the intricate mycelial networks of mycorrhizal fungi, through the very air we breathe, carrying messages in volatile organic compounds. This is not science fiction. It is the emerging understanding of a biological reality that challenges our most cherished assumptions about what it means to be alive, to be aware, to be intelligent. It is a profound invitation to expand our definitions, to open our minds to the myriad ways life manifests its inherent wisdom. This shift in perspective from viewing plants merely as inert resources or passive backdrops to recognizing them as potentially aware, intelligent beings carries with it profound ethical and practical implications. It calls for nothing less than a paradigm shift in our relationship with the green world, profound re-evaluation of our place within the web of life. For too long, humanity has approached nature with a mindset of dominion, seeing plants as commodities to be exploited, landscapes to be engineered, and ecosystems to be managed solely for human benefit. We've often seen ourselves as separate, superior, the sole bearers of consciousness in a largely unconscious world. But what if we are not the sole arbiters of intelligence on this planet? What if we are but one vibrant thread in a magnificent sentient tapestry, woven together with countless other forms of life, each with its own unique way of experiencing and navigating existence? This realization urges us to move beyond a purely transactional relationship with plants and towards one of genuine collaboration, deep respect, and profound reverence. It asks us to listen more deeply, not just with our ears, but with our entire being, to observe more patiently, discerning the subtle cues and intricate dances of the natural world, and to interact with a humility that acknowledges the inherent value, the intrinsic awareness, and the profound wisdom of every leaf, every root, every seed. It challenges us to shed our anthropocentric lens and embrace a biocentric view, where all life is recognized as interconnected and worthy of respect, where the otherness of the plant world becomes a source of wonder rather than a barrier to understanding. Our call for stewardship then transcends mere conservation as a practical necessity. It becomes an ethical imperative rooted in a deeper understanding of life's interconnectedness. To safeguard biodiversity is not just to preserve genetic material for future human use. It is to protect countless forms of wisdom, countless expressions of intelligence that contribute to the overall health, resilience, and beauty of our planetary home. When we clear-cut ancient forests, we're not just losing timber, not just disrupting carbon cycles. We are silencing ancient voices, dismantling intricate communication networks, and eroding a vast distributed intelligence that has shaped our world for millennia. We are severing threads in the sentient tapestry, diminishing the collective wisdom of the earth. True stewardship demands that we act as guardians, understanding that the health of the green world is inextricably linked to our own well-being, both physically and spiritually. Consider biomimicry, the art and science of learning from nature's profound designs. If we embrace the idea of plant intelligence, biomimicry becomes more than just copying forms or optimizing processes. It evolves into a deeper quest to understand the principles of plant wisdom, their unparalleled efficiency without waste, their remarkable resilience through diversity and redundancy, their collaborative strategies that foster entire ecosystems, their profound ability to thrive through interdependence rather than competition. We learn not just how a leaf captures sunlight with such elegant simplicity, but why it does so, and what fundamental lessons that holds for our own energy systems, for our architecture, for our industrial processes. We learn not just how roots navigate soil, but how they prioritize resources, adapt to changing conditions, and communicate with the microbial world, offering profound insights for our own complex networks and societal structures. This deeper biomimicry becomes a dialogue, a respectful apprenticeship with the living world, allowing plant intelligence to guide our innovations towards truly sustainable solutions, and in the realm of food security and agroecology. This shift is perhaps most transformative and urgent. If we recognize the intricate sentience within the soil, within the plants we cultivate, within the fungal networks that connect them, then our agricultural practices must evolve dramatically beyond the industrial monocultures and